Um, well, again, welcome to Gilda's Club's Energy Healing in the Cancer Patient class. Tonight, we have John Hoefer presenting, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to him.
Well, good evening. Yeah, I'm John Hoefer. I started the Kansas City Healing Project in 2005, and we've been providing energy healing sessions for cancer patients since then. So it's been 15 years this year. And we've also been providing sessions for veterans also. Do you want to introduce, there's one of the other participants, Jan Peck, she's one of the healers that provides the sessions for the both the cancer patients and the veterans too. And she's joined us tonight just to kind of see what a presentation looks like that I do. So what we're going to work with is we're going to talk a little bit about what the human energy system is and what energy healing is about. Talk about some of the benefits that cancer patients can get from energy healing sessions. I'll have a couple-minute video of a healing session. That would be one that we do in person in the office. And with COVID, we have been doing a lot of the healing sessions as distant sessions. We can work just as well with you in your home or wherever you're going to be, and us wherever we are. You don't have to actually be in the same place. I kind of like to do them in person. You can get have a little chance to talk and get to kind of just have that in-person interaction. But the healing works the same whether you're in person or if you're distant or remote. So, and then if we have time, we'll do a healing exercise as a group. So probably the biggest thing about the human energy system is that it's something that everybody has. It's a natural part of everyday living. We use it either consciously or unconsciously 100% of the time. And it shifts with every thought, emotion, and with any physical movement that you have. It's also referred to as the bioenergy field. And also, we're going to focus on using it as a healing modality rather than trying to prove how it works. We're just going to try and stay practical here. So this would be a picture of the different layers of the human energy field, the way we kind of look at it. And so you can see that there are some layers here that are like right next to the body that are blue, and you have some yellow, and you move out to a big gold egg around the outside. So the energy field starts about 3 feet outside of your body and moves into the center of your body. And when we talked about how the energy field changes during everyday activities, so the one here, the man that has the purple around him, he just has a lot of like purple in his field, and that is the kind of color that he would normally choose. Down below that is the what the field of a pregnant woman looks like, and you would have soft pastel colors in there, and that's why when you think of babies, you've got that light pink and that light blue, and that's because of the generally the shift in the energy field of a pregnant woman, and that has just carried over into everyday culture. You can see also how a woman meditating would shift her field around a little bit. Up there, a musician performing. So if someone is doing something that energetically excites them, like the man speaking with passion, the musician performing, they will be sending off energy that will match the activity that they're doing. Here's a picture of an energy field that was like before a session. In this particular case, there's you can see that there are different energy centers, or what we call chakras. They start with the lower one, that's kind of the red. This particular woman has some issues kind of going on in the kind of that pelvic region, and so that's why the colors are much more muted there. You move up to the yellow, the green, the blue, the indigo, and then white at the top. And you can see about the size of her field. After the session, or during a session, you can see that the healer's field is very clear, very bright. So we have a 3-year training program that we work with, and it teaches us how to have a clear, strong energy field so that we can pull energy in primarily from grounding. And you can see in this picture the bright red coming kind of out the bottom of the spine of the healer. The healer pulls the energy in, they run it through their hands, and then you can see up the client's legs that the colors are starting to clear out because the healer brings the energy in, runs it through their heart, down their arms to their hands, and then we modulate the client's energy field. And so this would be the after picture of the client after the healing session. So this would be a typical after picture, you might say, but during the session, we're kind of artificially somewhat clearing the client's field, and then the client will revert back partly because they'll want to find a way that they feel safe having their energy field. So you hold your energy field in a way that you're safe with it. We can run energy through and kind of clear it and stretch it. And then to the extent that you're willing to kind of hang on to that clearing, then that part will stay clear. When we've worked with cancer patients, when we first started working out at Menorah Medical Center, we took a survey of about the first 100 patients, and they told us their pain reduced, fatigue reduced, anxiety reduced, which we had, the 1 to 10 point scale for that. But they also started telling us about the intangible benefits, that they felt like they were in a safe place for once, and they also felt kind of a renewed sense of peace. And that was something that was a little bit surprising to them, even because they're like, wait a minute, I'm going through these treatments, and at the same time, I'm starting to feel a sense of peace with myself. So these are kind of the before and after readings on average. So the pain was reduced by about a half, fatigue was reduced significantly, and anxiety was reduced about 70%. And I've looked at some other studies done by other places, and these are very similar type of results that other people are getting too. These are some comments from one of the clients that we'd worked with, kind of going down to the part in the red at the bottom. She talked about having pain release, more energy, freedom from anxiety and depression, and just that sense of peace and hope. And so this is a very common type of reaction that clients will get. And another client here talked about how she had problems with pain and her legs were swelling due to lung clots or blood clots. Well, she had never talked about that with me as a client. And she just said, oh, well, I didn't even think that was that important or that we could do anything about it. So just in the normal course of a session, she noticed that the swelling in her legs went down and they stayed less swollen for several days. So when we do sessions, what we find is clients will kind of hold the shift from the session. Sometimes it's a permanent shift, and other times it'll be for a few days. And the other thing that we've noticed is sometime a client doesn't realize that something changed with their with the way they feel mentally, emotionally, spiritually until later on. Like I had a woman that she came in and she had had surgery for, they took out the top third of one of her lungs from lung cancer. We didn't talk about that pain, even though she had been on opioid type drugs for like the last 30 days before I even saw her for that pain. But when she went down and her partner picked her up after the session, partner goes, well, hey, how about that pain? And she goes, she had to stop and she went, oh, it's gone. And she didn't actually notice that it was gone because sometimes you just don't notice that something is different until you remember down the road a day or a week or two later, oh, I'm not feeling that pain anymore, or I'm not feeling that anxiety. So the clients can have different types of reactions like that are always fun to have them talk about once they realize what happened. And in this particular case, a different type of feeling that the client had talked about, that she thought when she had her lung cancer that her body somehow betrayed her. And so working with these type of sessions, we were able to help her kind of mentally, emotionally, forgive her body and to help her connect with her own ability to heal. Because it isn't what the doctors do, it isn't what we do that heals your body. Yes, we and the doctors can do things that will help your body heal, but eventually it's your own internal body's healing mechanisms that will have the client heal. So a doctor can do a surgery, take out some cancer, but the client's body needs to heal from that surgery at that point then. So some of the research that's been done, and I really like this study, it was done with breast cancer survivors, and they were measuring cortisol variability. And if you're under high stress, your cortisol goes up and it stays up. And if you're under normal type of stress situations, then your cortisol will kind of go up when you get stressed and come back down when you're not stressed, and you'll have that normal variability to your cortisol level. So they took a group of breast cancer survivors and they divided them into 3 different sections, one that got actual treatments, one that got fake healing treatments where they had someone that didn't have any training as a healer go through the same type of hand movements. And then they also had a control group that didn't have anything done. So they had 8 sessions over 4 weeks. And the neat thing about this study was it showed that the the clients that got the real healing sessions, their cortisol levels went back more towards normal amount of variability. And in the fake healing group and the control group, their cortisol levels didn't change. And also the people getting the actual treatments versus the fake treatments, they really couldn't tell which one they got. So it kind of ruled out belief systems. So if you didn't believe that you got a healing session, on average, even that group's cortisol went back to a more normal variability. So that what I liked about this is it really showed that receiving the treatment is what was the factor that caused the cortisol to improve rather than whether you believed you got a treatment or not. In another study a while ago, they did patients that were recovering from bypass surgery, and they received 3 sessions, one before, one like the day before, one right before, and then one right after surgery. And what they saw here was that on average, the people that received the treatments had a reduced length of hospital stay. So at this point in time, when they did the study, the people without treatments were in the hospital for about 7 days, and the ones that received the treatments were discharged a day to a day and a half sooner on average. And another study that was fairly recent too, this was kind of on stress. They had, this was out at Fort Pendleton in California. And so the soldiers had a 25% decrease in their PTSD symptoms and 37% decrease in their depression symptoms over a 3-week period. These are some of the places where energy healing is part of their normal everyday cancer treatment. So these are some fairly big name type of hospitals and cancer centers that are utilizing this type of practice. And so this is the contact information we have. This is also on our website there, kansascityhealingproject.org. And our office is located over at 7700 Shawnee Mission Parkway up in Suite 320. So that's just west of Metcalf on Shawnee Mission Parkway. And for about the last 10 years, we've also had a room out at Menorah Hospital in the Sarah Cannon Cancer Center. And they've we've dialed that back during COVID as a way to just keep the number of people that are there coming into the cancer center down to a minimum. But we have had clients either come into the office or more generally, they've come in or we've made arrangements with them and we've done the sessions remote. And some of the clients actually like those remote sessions better because they get to stay home, they get to just lay on their own bed and they don't have to get up and go home afterward. So they can just kind of roll over and continue to relax and have the session continue to work after we're done. So at this point, we can stop the recording.